Vlad, where are we off to today?
That's a really good question. I know, to a random village in Bulgaria.
Okay, so to a village in Bulgaria. And can you tell who makes the itineraries when Vlad and I travel together?
She is.
In Vlad's defense, I was the one who booked this day trip for us both, and I couldn't remember what all it included either. In fact, our last stop of the day was the city of Lovich, which I had described to him as a village. Our first stop of the day was the Krushuna Waterfalls, and it didn't take long after we parked for us to be greeted by some adorable stray dogs. Vlad and I booked this day trip on TripAdvisor, and we honestly could not have asked for a better tour guide. Our guide told us that because this day trip was so jam-packed, most groups only got to see one of the Krushuna Waterfalls, but he asked us if we wanted to take a hike to the mysterious waterfall, and we all enthusiastically said yes. The main cascade of the Krushuna Waterfalls is Praskoloto, which we will see later, but the hike to see the mysterious waterfall was so worth it. As always, my pronunciation of these sites may not be the best, but I am trying. So the Krushuna Waterfalls exist because this entire area sits on limestone bedrock. Limestone dissolves slowly in water, and over time this creates underground channels, caves, and springs. This is the same geological system that formed Devetashka Cave, which is where we'll be going after the Krushuna Waterfalls. For most of history, these waterfalls were not landmarks, they weren't pilgrimage sites, they were just part of the terrain. By this point, I think our tour guide was probably regretting going the extra mile for us, literally, but we had come too far to turn around now. In all seriousness, we could tell he loved the area and loved showing it off. We had just a little bit further to go before making it to the mysterious waterfall.
You can go to here
Okay.
if you want.
That's cute. That's cute.
This is it. I guess it's somewhat underwhelming to look at from a distance and not as picturesque as the Praskoloto waterfall, but it was super neat and we had to walk up to it one at a time. As mentioned earlier, for most of history, these waterfalls were simply part of the terrain, so all the modern walkways and signage you see are from the late 20th and early 21st centuries. I really enjoyed the hike to the mysterious waterfall, and it was my favorite part. But here is what some would say is the main attraction of the Krushuna Waterfall complex, the Praskaloto Waterfall. The beautiful bluish green water is a result of the limestone. It's not from algae or from anything artificial. Our next stop of the day was Devetashka Cave. Devetashka Cave was formed over thousands of years by water dissolving limestone, and it's one of the largest cave chambers in Europe. During Bulgaria's communist period from 1944 to 1989, the cave was closed to the public because it was being used by the military for storage of things like fuel, ammunition, and strategic supplies. The cave was ideal for this purpose because it was naturally concealed, temperature stable, and resistant to aerial observation. Here we can see a red star painted on the ground, which is a rare surviving visual trace of that period. After 1989, military use of the cave ended, equipment and weapons were removed, and the cave was simply left. No monument, no cleanup, no reinterpretation. But this is typical of many former communist military sites that are too politically loaded to preserve and are essentially left in a liminal state. The cave is home to protected bat populations, which became especially important after the fall of communism. In an effort to protect the bats, there are now conservation rules in place that limit access to the cave at certain times of the year. Devetashka Cave was actually used as a filming location for The Expendables 2, but the production was fined after disturbing the bats, and filming had to be temporarily halted. For thousands of years, Devetashka Cave existed as a geological space shaped slowly by water and time long before it was ever given a political purpose. Then, in under a century, the cave went from being a military secret to being abandoned to ultimately becoming a global spectacle and controversial filming location. That takes us to our last stop of the day, the city, not the village, of Lovich. But first, some lunch. Of course, what is a meal in a Bulgarian restaurant without a feline companion or two wandering around? Of the places I visited during my 10 weeks in Bulgaria, the city of Montana was probably my favorite because it really left an impression on me. But the city of Lovich is probably easily in my top 3. It was peaceful, charming, and just all around pleasant. The city of Lovich has real historical weight, and the fortress is the backbone of that story. We had a bit of a climb to make our way up to Hisarya Fortress. The hilltop ruins of Hisarya Fortress, which many people just call the Fortress of Lovich, understandably, was first fortified by the Thracians and later expanded under Roman rule. During the Second Bulgarian Empire, the fortress became a major administrative and defensive center in northern Bulgaria. In 1187, events surrounding the Treaty of Lovich helped secure recognition of a restored Bulgarian state after rebellion against Byzantium. The fortress fell in the late 14th century, after which its military importance steadily declined. Unlike heavily reconstructed sites, the fortress of Lovich was largely abandoned, leaving behind fragmented walls and foundations rather than a rebuilt monument. Speaking of monuments, however, you may have noticed a statue of a man before we started making our way through the ruined fortress. That was a statue of Vasil Levski, who is considered the most revered national hero in Bulgaria because he was a 19th century revolutionary who organized a secret internal network against Ottoman rule. I thought this quote-unquote American tattoo machine was pretty hilarious. After an extremely full day of nature and history, we ended the day with a visit to the covered bridge of Lovich. The covered bridge of Lovich was originally built in 1874, but it was destroyed by flooding in 1925 and ultimately reconstructed in 1981. The original bridge from 1874 reflected Bulgaria's national revival period, and even though the current structure from 1981 is much newer, it still serves a symbolic role for the city.